Guys, there's a huge potential scientific breakthrough going around online that holds the potential to revolutionize countless industries. Maybe you've heard of people talking about superconductors. Well, that's it. And one particular industry that could be highly affected by this is cryptocurrency and blockchains. And in the short term, there could be some potential threats that could be disastrous for this whole space and cause a lot of people to lose all kinds of money. Wait, what? Yeah, you heard that right. I'm going to break down everything you need to know in this video today as a blockchain developer myself who works this technology on a daily basis. Tell you what I think about this whole thing. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to become a blockchain master, step by step, start to finish, break in the industry, increase your salary well past 100K, I can show you how to do that over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, so let's jump into this. So if you've been paying attention to social media over the past week or so, you've probably seen a lot of buzz going around about superconductors and also aliens. But superconductors are, of course, what I want to focus on in this video because we could have seen a massive breakthrough for this technology. So first, let's start off with why. Well, in order to understand the why, you have to first understand what a superconductor is in the first place. And now I don't pretend to be a physics expert on this channel. I'm not a physicist by any stretch of the imagination, but I do understand enough to how it can impact things that I understand extremely well, like computing, blockchains, and crypto. So let me give you a high-level overview of what they are. So let's break the word down. Conductor is in the word itself. So what is a conductor? Well, it's a mechanism that lets electrons flow through it, or said another way, just to conduct electricity. Now, the problem with a lot of our current methods for conducting electricity is that there's a lot of efficiency loss. Now, a problem with a lot of our current methods for conducting electricity is that they have resistance. So there's inherent inefficiency in the process, but superconductors remove this resistance completely, allowing for hyper-efficient energy transfers. So let's use an analogy to understand how that works. So basically, let's say you're playing with a toy car, okay? So normally if you would push a toy car, it would eventually stop because of friction. If the toy car slows down and stops completely, you have to push it again to keep it going, okay? But imagine if you had a toy car that you could put on a surface and then you could push it and it would just keep going forever without you ever having to push it again. That's really an analogy of what a superconductor would look like. So basically right now, anytime you have, electricity flowing through a normal power grid, it'll eventually slow down because of resistance. But if you remove the resistance, it can just keep going indefinitely. All right, so let me clarify something here. We have superconductors already. They power things like MRI machines in the medical world, but they have a few major problems, again, from my understanding. Number one is that they require incredibly low temperatures in order to operate. If you're going to get the full benefit of that superconductor, you would need temperatures close to absolute zero in Kelvin, which would be basically minus 273 degrees Celsius or minus 459 degrees Fahrenheit. And or you would need really specific atmospheric pressure in order to pull this off. Now, again, that's my understanding of this current situation. And what's so big about the latest LK-99 superconductor that people are talking about is that it can basically operate in normal atmospheric conditions. So basically at room temperature with normal atmospheric pressure, meaning that you don't have to have these insane circumstances to create one and have it function. Now, at the time of recording this video, the entire scientific community is really split on whether this thing is completely legit or not. And everyone's on edge, waiting for others to reproduce this study to know if it's completely bogus or if it is a massive breakthrough. And at the time of recording this video, that's where things stand. Now, by the time this video gets published, maybe we see something either debunk it and, the information I'm saying in this video is not really relevant anymore. Or if it is, and we have further reason to believe that this is true, then this could be the beginning of something really crazy. And so if it is true, then what are the implications for blockchains and cryptocurrencies? What's the potential threat looming on the horizon? All right, well, it's all got to do with quantum computers, okay? So what are those? Well, I've talked about these several times in my channel and how they pertain to cryptocurrencies and blockchains, but let's just clarify what that is in case you're not familiar. So let's start with the computers that you use now. Like if you're watching this video on a smartphone or on a computer, you're using what's called a classical computer, which is built in a very specific way without getting all the crazy details. Under the hood, the hardware uses semiconductors. All the information essentially gets broken down into ones and zeros at the most basic computational level. And these are also the types of computers that we use to create the cryptography standards that power blockchains and cryptocurrency. And cryptography is a big deal. cryptocurrency, cryptography, blockchain are inextricably linked. Well, that's classical computers. Now let's talk about quantum computers, because these are the ones themselves that potentially hold a threat to blockchains. Well, why? Well, fundamentally, under the hood, they work completely different from classical computers. At the atomic level, they use these things called qubits, which maintain superposition and can exist in nearly an infinite number of states rather than just ones and zeros, and can therefore handle exponentially larger computational tasks. And these computers are so powerful that they can threaten our current encryption standards that we use with classical computers. Basically, they could crack any encryption standard that we use inside of cryptocurrency and also, banking, internet passwords, anything like that. Now, we have quantum computers already, but there's a major problem with them. They're very brittle. Okay, the qubits that I was talking about a minute ago fall out of superposition pretty fast, and the energy requirements to run a sophisticated quantum computer are absolutely insane. Now, the LK-99 superconductor has the potential to break through with some of the bottlenecks that we've got with quantum computing to actually make more viable quantum computers, okay? So a few ways that it can do that are it can make it easier to maintain qubits into superposition into this coherent state that doesn't have the same types of error rates. Also is scalability, because one of the biggest challenges in quantum computing is scaling up the number of qubits required while maintaining their integrity. Could simplify this scaling problem, enabling larger, more powerful quantum computers at scale. Another way is energy efficiency. So basically with a superconductor, you could create a way more efficient quantum computer that reduces the energy needs in order to get one off the ground in the first place. All right, and so now if that's what the LK-99 superconductor could do, if it's legit, if it creates more viable quantum computers, okay, if we can actually get to that step, then how does that potentially threaten blockchains and cryptocurrencies? Well, again, it goes back to the encryption that I was talking about before. Blockchains are powered by cryptography from classical computers, and if you can create supercomputers that are widespread in use, then they can essentially crack the cryptography standards that we use on blockchains right now. So basically, they could crack the encryption standards that we use and allowing attackers to forge transactions and potentially steal cryptocurrencies on any type of blockchain that uses proof of work. They could crack the double spend problem, basically allowing people to spend more coins than they actually have in their wallets. You could potentially deduce a user's private key to their wallet by knowing their public key, and also potentially perform a 51% attack on any type of proof of work style blockchain. And so, of course, if any of that happens, then that poses a pretty significant threat to blockchains and cryptocurrencies in the first place. So, what are my thoughts on this whole matter? Should you worry? Am I worried about this? Is it a real threat? So let's start off with the whole threat part of the equation, okay? We first have to understand whether the LK-99 superconductor is in fact legit or is it totally bogus. Again, by the time this video comes out or shortly after, we may know the answer to that question, but let's assume that it is legit, then it could be a threat for cryptocurrencies and blockchain in the short term, not necessarily the long term. I'll talk about that in a minute ago. So first of all, if everything that I'm saying is true, and then we get to that point, we have quantum computers where, people are cracking crypto wallets, it's not just crypto that's on the hook, okay? You're talking about every single internet password out there to your bank, to any important financial information, identity theft, all that type of stuff is at risk. It's not just the Bitcoin blockchain, it's not just Ethereum, it's not these other things. It's pretty much everything that we use on the internet right now that has a password behind it, even two-factor authentication. So it's almost a case where there's not a whole lot you can do to protect yourself from this problem in the short term. Now, over the long term, do I actually think it's going to be a death nail for cryptocurrencies and blockchains? I don't, okay? So here's why. Well, if in fact we do start to see quantum computers become normalized, then eventually that's just going to replace what we do with classical computers now, especially for really high stakes things. And if that's the case, then we can also create quantum cryptography that's resistant to other quantum computers and cracking these encryption algorithms. Now, that being said, the threat here is in the short-term intermediate period, where maybe a small number of people actually have this technology and can create it and can go do nefarious things before the rest of the system has time to react and fix that. Now, again, if that does happen, then of course, crypto is not the only person at risk. It's anything that's got a password on the internet, and we could see some tumultuous times if we get there. Now, again, with the long-term vision, I don't think it's going to be a death nail for crypto because we can eventually create quantum-resistant cryptography. And you might think that a catastrophic event like this would just completely cause people to lose hope in the crypto space in the first place. I don't think that's really going to happen because we've seen an insane number of headwinds for the crypto space in the past. I've been in this space since, 2017. I've seen countless hacks. Even though I wasn't here for the Mt. Gox hack that happened back in 2016, I remember being in the wake of that with fundamental distrust in the space and everything since that going forward. Chains going down, et cetera, et cetera. And this is a potential thing that is just going to stress test the space even further so that we can get it ready for prime time. So those are my thoughts on the matter. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Is the LK-99 superconductor paper totally bogus? Is it legit? Have you tried to recreate anything? I want to hear from you. And even if it is legit, is it actually going to have the impact on quantum computers that we think it might? And if it does, is that actually going to pose a threat for crypto? I want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. So that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It really helps this videos out so the more people learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find those free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those videos and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I should become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You really don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.